Well, we're back in Stormworks. I wanted to show you some of the things that are possible with the new updates, so I built this little carrier. It's a helicarrier. It is too small to actually be useful, but it has a lot of features, so it's kind of fun to see. This is the helicopter, which I'll show you in a little while, but first let's go ahead and start this ship up. You can see that our trim is preset at 1. So we can just get going. We have internal jet engines firing up a set of 10 water jets, which is a good way to do boats if you want to go fairly fast. This one tops out at about 50, which is fine for a carrier. There's, going any faster than this, and we risk losing that helicopter that's attached. Unfortunately, 50 is a little bit too fast for taking a boat tour, so we're going to cut that down, just so that we can actually walk around without dying. Here is our screen. This screen allows us to see where we are and also set up a course to wherever we want to go. Let's go ahead and set up a course to over here. Now that we're cruising around 25 rather than 50, we can walk around without too much difficulty. So I'll show you what's up. Over here we've got some displays, some diesel and jet fuel. You can see that we have almost none. 4,000 units of jet fuel and 10,000 units of diesel. It's basically no fuel. This is too small of a ship to really support the weight of a helicopter like this. We can, however, turn our engines on and off right here in the system. So if we want to get that battery boost, we can do that. If we want to get the diesel turned on, we can do that. Over here we got our drone seat, which we'll look at later. First, let's just take a look downstairs. I have some interiors, nothing that I put too much thought into, just some basics. So, got a medical bed with a shower and a private bath. And then over here we got some kind of captain's quarters, I guess. And then we got some stuff over here, and then some stuff back here. And this is all mostly for flotation. The whole point of this ship is, the interior helps us float. Down here we've got the engine area, where if we wanted to, we can crack open all these places and take a look at the engines. Here's our jets and our batteries. Here's our diesel. And of course, back here, there are our water jets. Beautiful stuff, right? You can see we've got some engines, some backup electric engines, and hidden in the back there we got some battery generators which we use to restore power. Right here we've got a lovely diving pool, which if I jump down through I will die. This moon pool does not let any water in due to a neat little glitch, so it just can stay open all the time. But I fenced it off because accidentally falling out of your ship is no fun. Unless you're in multiplayer. Now that we've gotten sufficiently far from land, let's go ahead and launch our drone. We're actually nowhere near where we were headed. We're kind of just floating here. But it's a reasonably good spot for, taking the drone for a ride. Let's take a quick little tour of the drone. The drone has a fluid import for refueling. It's also, let's turn off our engines rather than put them in neutral. It's got, you can see how much fuel it's got. It's got 2 of these beautiful aircraft engines, which are my favorite for the smaller vehicles. It's got lots of antennas and all sorts of wacky doodads, but what it doesn't have is a seat. It doesn't need a seat. It's got this lovely camera and some antennas on the back. So let's go ahead and take it for a ride. Here you can see that it's pointed straight at us. We can turn off the deck connections, at which point it turns on a red circle. That red circle tracks this ship. Now, because the actual vehicle is very low res, the video is very low res, you can see how quickly it becomes hard to distinguish where the ship is. That's why using laser beacons is so important and so critical. So I've put 4 laser beacons, orthogonal laser beacons, on the top of our cruiser, which makes it quite easy for us to track where that little carrier is, regardless of how far away we get. I think that there is a max distance, but it's like 2 kilometers or something, I'm not sure. So it's relatively easy for us to track it regardless of where we go. And as you can see, as we turn, it tracks. Easy peasy. It might seem like it winks out of existence long before it should, but you got to remember that the actual camera that we're using has an almost 90-degree field of vision, which means that it's like a 45-degree field for the sensor that's detecting those things. The camera's a much wider sensor. Now, if I was going to do this quote-unquote for real, what I would do is I would have a few other elements set up here. I would have the ability for the camera to zoom. I would have things like the ability to detect where the ship is based on transmitted coordinates. But I just wanted to get something done in a day, and so this is what I did in, 2 afternoons when I should have been playing Heaven's Vault, which I'll get back to tomorrow. So landing on the ship is pretty straightforward. You just got to make sure that you don't accidentally misunderstand how your camera angle is, because it's easy to think that you should be in front of where you should be, but in fact you need to point yourself directly down between your legs. You can hear it getting closer to our seat now. You don't want to be too far forward because it's far farther forward than you might think. Easy as pie. Clunk. And as long as our trim is set to a negative number, the engines should turn themselves off. Another thing that I would fix if I was going to, do this for serious. We can pull this into position. No, we can't because it's not quite long enough. Let's go ahead and extend it. Let's retract. Clunk, and of course, clunk, and then of course, retract. That's extend. That's retract. And then when the rear two click in, there we are. Now it's all anchored up. We can come over here and refuel the diesel by extending the diesel line. We could try and pump it full of jet fuel, but I have a feeling that that wouldn't really fare very well. So let's grab this, bring it over here, and connect it up like so. And then we can just hit this pump from ship. If you see, currently we're down to 658. We pump from ship, and it goes straight up to 700 and stops. Hooray. And then we can just leave that there. It'll turn itself off automatically when we launch again. Fun stuff, right? So this was a fun ship to create. There's a lot of toys in this ship. We got 3 different engine modes, which can be controlled via screen. We got a drone that can be launched and find its way home regardless of how far away it gets. We got a pop-up screen for allowing us to look at a map and choose coordinates to fly to automatically, or sail to automatically. All in all, I really like the ideas in this ship. It's just a little bit too small. I also really like this catwalk. There's something about it that I just ended up really enjoying. I think I'm going to use this a lot more often, and I don't even think it's a good idea. I just like it. It's my ship. I'm allowed to build it however I want. Now, of course, the big question is, what happens in a storm? So let's go ahead and turn our jet engines back on. Oh, we're not moving yet. Now we're moving. So, we're in a storm. I think it's probably a good idea to try and sail for a safe harbor. Well, there's a safe harbor down here. I know there's one directly behind us, but that wouldn't be as much fun. Oh, but look at that. We have taken to the skies. It's okay. I think it'll sort itself out, given some time. Splushka. You can see how this is not really the best ship for stormy weather, but it does have this fun little feature where it will happily fly to wherever we're going without having to worry about anything. It doesn't fly particularly fast, only 124, but the real problem with the flight is, of course, that our jet fuel will run out in short order. We're already down to about half of what we started with. I like the idea of a helicarrier. I just can't imagine... You would have to have so much jet fuel to keep in the skies. Maybe that's what I'll build next, though. A helicarrier or something. I really am enjoying seeing how far this game can be stretched now that we have the tools that we would have needed to actually make an engineering game. You might know I have played a lot of engineering games, like Space Engineers and so on, but none of them are really very engineering. This is the first game where, first game in a while, aside from Kerbal, I guess, where I feel that there's actual, engineering going on, where I am actually trying to figure out what's going on and how to make it work, and creating all sorts of custom elements. If we keep our speed a little bit lower, we won't fly away, and we'll be able to dock quite nicely with this this dock that I've tracked us to. You know what we should do? We should actually park and send our helicopter over to investigate the dock. What do you say? And there it is up there. I can just barely see it on our screen. If you're wondering why I'm not looking up like 2 degrees, it's because I got my hands literally full piloting this helicopter. It requires all hands because I'm just using the default rotor setup. There's no yaw control to prevent me from skidding out of order or nothing like that. I'm just manually doing everything. But let's just take our hands off for a second and just take a quick little look around this island here. If we hit 3, we can get ourselves some night vision. But as you can see, during the day, night vision isn't necessary. So, and now it's not day anymore. So you can see that there are some things on this island, like I think that there is a runway directly below us. Let's go ahead and just park a little bit. We actually have a negative vertical spin already, so we can just let this work itself out. We'll just gently plonk our butts down right here on the pavement. Clonk. Ah, beautiful. Alright, time to take off. And of course we can find our way right back to the ship. There it is. How much fun, right? I think that if I did a little bit more work on this, I could probably get it to be substantially better. I think that what I would really need to do that, though, is a more than 4K characters. I would need to have at least 10K programming characters. 4K is just too small. It would also be really nice to be able to pipe in 2 different signals and pipe out like just flat out bools and stuff. There's no reason for the limits that we've got right now. Still, we are simply faring in this storm without any real challenge. I guess the question is, when we try and dock with the ship again, will we be able to land on a rolling dock? Well, I know we need one thing for that. We need to be able to actually connect up. So let's turn those connectors back on. But I don't see the ship. Oh, there it is. Now, if we switch off our night vision, you can see that we have pretty good sight here in real world because I put lights on it. It's also got a night vision infrared beacon on it, which is why it glows so brightly. Looks like we are a little bit too far back, just to move ourselves forward. I will do some kind of automated landing or landing helper at some point here. But for now, you can hear it. It's getting close enough that we can now hear it coming down towards us. Make sure that our negative pitch is just nice and gentle. And we'll just lower ourselves down. Perfect. These didn't hook up, so we'll just hook them up. Don't take off, you jerk. There's no way to turn it off, so we'll just give it a big negative vertical. And there we are. We salvaged it. It's all set up again. Everything's working, even on high seas. This was a really fun build. I don't know whether or not that comes through in the video. I'm not sure how fun it appears when you're looking around it here, but I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.